Hey, I'm Matt with Let's Talk Music, and I'm here with Daniel Morales of Aurora Dream. And you're in Miami this evening, sir. How's the weather down there?
It's very humid right now. A lot of a lot of rain and then we have, then it gets really sunny. It's very bipolar the weather here, but I'm already used to it. It was harder for me to get used to it though. Living in Boston for a while and then moving here. Um, but it's, after a while you're just it's just more of the same.
Yeah, Ohio is well known for its bipolar weather. So this week so far so good. Recently we've had a lot of rain, so but we ain't weathermen. We are talking about your new project, man. I listened. I streamed the whole freaking album, and phenomenal.
Oh,
Um, I just it's something that I could really put my headphones to on and like lay down and just drift off to. I
nice.
mean,
Thanks a lot. Were you familiar with this kind of music before? Like not just instrumental, but like this, I guess, math rock or prog.
no, no,
Oh,
this is the first time I've ever heard it. So if you don't mind explaining it to me, go ahead.
no, well, I'm glad you liked it, because um it's not very, I mean, it there is a niche for it, just like for anything else, but it's something that um yeah, it's kind of it's very, how can I say that? Well, it's prog music, so it's very like unpredictable. It has a lot of changes, but I try to keep it melodic so that at
Mhm.
least you have some sense of direction, and it's not just crazy riffs and things happening all over the place. And without having lyrics, there is more of a pressure on myself to kind of like tell a story, at least with melodies, since
Mhm.
there's nobody singing. So I try to, create like a listening experience that feels kind of a journey. um it was a challenge though, just because, being my first album, and just like with any first experiences, you kind of learn as you go. um but overall, I think I feel confident that it was very, very close to what I heard in my head as I was writing it. So since you liked it, and a lot of people did, that's all that matters.
Right. And so where does the math come in?
Oh, the maths you said?
Well, it's called a math prog
Uh,
rock.
yeah.
So
So
where does the math come in?
right. So um aside from being a prog album because of progressive rock,
Mhm.
it also has a lot of math rock elements, and math rock is relatively like a new niche. Well, it's been here for a long time, but it's only now recently, maybe in the last, I don't want to say decade, but like 5 years at least, that it's gotten more recognition, and it's not that far from prog music in a sense that it shares the same principles of being a music style that is very unpredictable and has a lot of time signature changes. It's and it's very experimental, but I guess the math comes from the fact that um, you you get a little more creative with the time signature changes. So there's a lot of numbers that you play around with to make sure that even though it's really crazy and you have all these changes happening across the song, it still makes sense in the end. Like it's still, you're still, I guess, tying yourself up to some structures that you kind of go on by establishing across the song. And the term math rock um comes from that, from combining many different time signatures that are almost insane to make work altogether because it's just very, yeah, just very strange. But somehow, like in the end, they still work. Um, and that's kind of, it's a challenging thing to do. It's like turning a mess into something that it's still a mess, but at least well structured. So that's why, yeah.
Right. And I mean, you can hear it throughout. I mean, it's I probably listened to 4 or 5 songs before, you know, when I first got the press release, and I just listened to a couple before the interview because I like to get myself psyched for it. And I mean, it is ever changing, and it's man, I really don't know how to explain it other than phenomenal guitar work.
Thanks. Yeah, there's a lot of guitars happening. Um, it's very well, like I said earlier, since we don't have vocals, the guitars kind of become like the vocal element. So
Right.
mine are very frontal when you hear everything all together, but at the same time, the features also added um like a different flavor for each track, so it doesn't just feel like everything is about me and my guitar sound. That it's very consistent throughout the album. You have like other sounds coming in from other guitar players that I feel like they added, yeah, like an extra dimension to the whole thing. But I'm glad you like the guitar work. Um it was something that took a while to figure out, as far as like how to put all the pieces together, because I didn't go about it by, as I was writing it, I was just yeah, just like connecting a bunch of ideas that I had written months and months ago, and then like creating new pieces so that I could connect them all, like little bridges in between each part. So it was kind of like reconstructing something out of tiny bits from, I don't know, videos I found on my computer, and then also adding features on it. So yeah, it was like building a house out of, yeah, like rocks and things that you find around.
Right.
But yeah,
So in your press release, it says this whole thing started back in 2019.
yeah,
So during, I mean, then the pandemic hit. So I mean, and I've talked with a lot of artists, and you know, they pretty much agree with me, is that as bad as COVID was for people, I feel like for people in the entertainment industry, musicians, artists, actors, whatever, it gave them more time to sit down and produce quality music. And I mean, here it is 2023, and this is a project that started in 2019, and you just released it not too long ago, and dude, I mean, it touched me. And that's like I feel like that's the main goal as an artist, is to touch people, to like some way change their sense of being or whatever. And that's what I said, man. I could put on my headphones and just chill and relax to this whole album. I mean, and it I'm a huge fan of music, and I have not heard an instrumental album this good. God, I
thanks,
might
man.
say since probably Steve Vai in the 90s.
Thanks.
So
That means a lot. I I really appreciate that you know, you took the time to like listen to the whole thing from start to end, because I know it has it takes you to, like I said, like a journey of different um emotions. There's a lot of tension, but also and there's some energetic moments as well, but
yeah.
and it gets heavy sometimes, and then it gets very angelic and happy, and there's some ones that feel more nostalgic than others. For example, track number 8, Doggy. I wrote that one because my dog passed because of cancer, and
Oh,
that was one of the first songs that I actually wrote for the album. And back then, I um didn't really have a name for the project or for the album. I wasn't planning on adding the track to the album, but it just felt right. And that one in particular has a lot of different like moments across the entire song. It's the longest one as well on the album,
mm-hmm.
so you can tell you go from very different, yeah, like different moods across the entire song. Towards the end, it gets very emotional,
Yeah,
but it was meant to like sort of, yeah, like encapsulate, I guess, yeah, the life I had with my dog, like since the very early days, and then evolving into, how things ended. But I don't know, I have a thing for creating, like trying to create instrumental music, but just doesn't feel, it's just not about technicality, but also like at least, yeah, it feels like it takes you on a journey, just like Steve Vai or like other uh guitar players that in their own ways, I guess, also try to, yeah, to take you on a journey with
yeah.
whatever they were doing.
I mean, there's, I mean, several ones that I used to listen to. And they're kind of they're still doing a little bit here and there, but like Steve Vai, Jay Satriani, Eric Johnson. I mean, Eric Johnson is one of my favorites. The song Cliffs of Dover. I mean, that is just it's a extreme mixture of rock and blues. Like he's rocking and everything in the background is kind of bluesy, and it's I think you nailed it, dude. It's you knocked it out of the park. And I look forward to, seeing what's next with you. I mean, you're phenomenal. That's all I got to say.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it a lot. And um there is, I started right when the first song that I ever wrote was Parallel Colors, that is also part of the album, but there's a different version that came out in 2016 that then got re-released, remixed and remastered, kind of like as a comeback to Aurora Dream, because the project was very, um, I didn't have, I wasn't doing anything for the project for a while. And then after that, the single A New Infinite came out, which it's out there. You can check it out if you want, or if you, in case you haven't. And it's very different from the album because that one is more electronic. I was like
Okay.
experimenting with other sounds, kind of like getting outside of my comfort zone. But then we have the album, and then after the album, just like 2 days ago or 3 days ago, I put out a single that it's Parallel Colors, like remixed into more of an electronic version, if we can call it that. But yeah, I'm also curious to see what I can do next or where I can take this project. And I just recently found a drummer and a bassist that joined at least as temporary, live musicians, and I guess we'll see if they stick to the project. But um, it's so up in the air that it's yeah, it's just hard to see where things can go. But I'm trying my best. I'm going to LA tomorrow for NAM, where I'm sure like all guitar players will go, like Steve Vai and all of them, and I'm gonna
Oh
try my
yeah,
best to like network and hopefully, yeah, get some more attention to the project, because that's probably the hardest part so far. I Not many people have either written about the project like through articles, or like wanting to like get in, have me for an interview like yourself. It's a Yeah, it's a tough industry, but it's I'm still hopeful, and I keep on, doing what I can.
man. Don't ever stop doing what you can, because I'm telling you, Daniel, you got something, man. I mean, I tried back in the day to play guitar, and my God, to listen to you the way you just flow it is, man. It's there's a raw talent there that you can't let go. Even if you don't make it big or whatever, just always keep playing. I mean, you are a master of that instrument.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that a lot, and I'll definitely keep on, yeah, keep on creating music. Um, you know, there's this thing when you write something, whether it's an album or a single, like you listen to it so many times as you're like putting the pieces together that you kind of lose sight of whether it's good or not, because it's already like it becomes just random motions in your head. Even when you play the songs, it's just like muscle memory. But when you hear it from people that it's their first experience, whether it be listening to it live or like you did listening at home, it kind of like reassures that okay, yeah, yeah, it makes you remember that there is something to it at least. I've also gotten comments like, oh, I can see sort of a pattern, not a pattern, but um I could listen to Aurora Dream and tell that, oh yeah, this is Daniel because of the guitar sound and like the way he kind of like, I guess, flows, like you said, and sort of as if I already had like a signature sound, and that's something new to me because I still try to I guess brand that. I would like to yeah, in a way like brand that sound and I guess find my own voice with guitar, just like most players. See if I can have something that is very Daniel for the next for the future things, which
Right.
will continue to evolve, of course. And I love fusions and mixing genres and whatnot. But I would also like for people to recognize my sound and be like, oh yeah, that's him because he's always a dude that does this thing, just like Steve Vai does a lot of bendings.
Signature.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I mean, I'm sitting here looking at like your YouTube. I mean, some of the comments, amazing release, great album. Oh my God, such an amazing collaborators. But the one that I really like the best is the last one that you got 2 weeks ago that says rewind/repeat is just out of this world. I mean, that's pretty awesome, man. I mean, it's I feel that person because I was when I was listening to it, I was like, man, this is just so cool. I just haven't, you know, you got the new metal sound that's big right now, and you got the old metal and blah 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 blah, everything in between. But again, there has not been a full instrumental album that has come out in some time that I know of. And I mean, here it is, you know, Daniel of Aurora Dream that put this out, not Steve Vai, not Joe Satriani, not freaking, Marty Friedman or anybody else. And dude, it has it. It just it caught my ear. It really I'm gonna go as far as saying it touched my soul. I felt it, dude. I felt your emotion and the music. And that is very hard to put across without lyrics. And you did that.
thank you. Yeah, I that was the that was probably the thing that I was that I am most excited about when writing music. And at the time, you know, emotions change, of course, for everybody. And when I started writing it, I was very sad and depressed because I had, my dog passed, and like as aside from that, like a lot of other unfortunate things happened. But then, you didn't just stay there forever. So
Right.
2019 is still a very long time from now. So over the years, like I met more people, and of course, like I had newer experiences, and the whole record kept on evolving as as years went by. So it's really like a collection of moments for me. at least. And knowing that I still got some things across without lyrics, like you said, and um that there's still people that appreciate this kind of music, even though it's very, no, not everybody is like into instrumental music, but there's still a big, a lot of people that um appreciate that, and they will take the
Yeah.
time to listen to it and let you take them on a journey like you did. So that's great. And I um and yeah, there's been a lot of good comments. There's also been a lot of bad comments, just like for anything. I just I don't really pay much attention to them, but it's either way, like I said, what matters the most to me was yeah, just making sure that um the album still felt like something worth listening to, and that there's so much detail to it, and like so many different layers and sounds and little Easter eggs. Like that track, Rewind Repeat, if you compare it to the first track, it's really the same thing, like 80%. Only that the last track is like a happier, more angelic version of the first one that feels very dark and tense.
Right.
Um, because that's how I felt at the time when I started writing the album. And then, like I said, life changed a lot. So the last track is just like the beginning of the album, only that like a counterpart of it, if if we want to see it like that.
Well, dude, I'll tell you what, man. I've you know how you like can go on Facebook and like I have my Let's Talk Music page and you can boost a post. Well, I boosted a post and it says, where do you want to boost it at? And I'm like, okay, well, I've got people that listen in the UK, this, that, and whatever. So I did it. And like there was comments on there like, really, I, interrupted my day for this shit and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, whatever, it was, there's always going to be bad with the good,
Yeah,
but the thing is that, I look forward to people giving me constructive criticism. Don't tell me I fucking suck or your your Let's Talk Music is shit or whatever because I'm just gonna ignore you. I'm not even gonna reply because that's just gonna make me look bad. But if you say, hey, you could do this differently, I can take that. Like okay, what can I do different? Because I'm always looking to improve myself. I'm sure you are as a musician, and the negative comments are going to come rather if you was God himself. Somebody's going to say, well, Satan could play it better, you know?
yeah,
So, it doesn't matter. It's what it's the good comments that really make you feel good. Like, I've had bands that have said, thank you so much for what you do. You get us out there. If it wasn't for people like you, blah blah blah. And I'm like, that's what makes me feel good. Not I don't pay attention to the negative, man, and neither should you because you're a phenomenal artist and you have a talent that you're trying to share with the world. You're trying to tell your story through music, and to hell with the haters.
yeah. No, yeah, I was kind of, yeah, like prepared in a way. And even though I'm not very public, like there's probably not videos of myself like talking. I think this will be like the very first one ever. I don't even do that like on, and it was like my first experience, I guess, putting things out. Not I had released like covers in the past when I was in high school, but even back then I would just share that with my friends. Like nobody in my classroom knew that I had a YouTube channel. I would upload covers. It was only now that I kind of course, like I after making the album and having the features, it just made sense to put it out and share it everywhere. But it's very yeah, all it's very new to me. Whether it be good comments, bad comments, just because I've never been that much of a public person when it comes to the things I do musically. It's only now that
We froze up.
Views or comments. It's all very new, but yeah, I like it so far, and I haven't played shows with an actual like full band, so that's something that will happen. Um, hopefully this during the second half of this year because we have to rehearse all the songs, see which ones we're going to be playing. But
Right.
it's good. I like it. I don't plan on giving up on it, or even if I stay independent forever, I don't. I'll continue to save up and see how I can keep on releasing music for Aurora Dream because it deserves to exist.
Yes. Yes, it does. So tell me, man, how did Aurora Dream come about? How did that name come about?
So back to what I was saying about that first track I wrote in 2016. I I put that out as a single as I was finishing my bachelor's in Orlando, and I didn't even have a name at the time. Just released a track under Parallel Colors, but I released it as a solo thing, I think, and then didn't do anything about it or played it live or anything. And then 2019 came, or 2018. No, it was early 2019, and I moved to Miami from Orlando, and I was kind of like meeting new people, um, and I met this guy who used to work at Samash, and he had a studio, and I was telling him about my music and everything, and then he insisted that to, you know, he wanted me to keep on writing music. He found something with Parallel Colors that he was like, oh, you should write a second song and a third one, and maybe I don't know, do an EP or something. And I have a studio, I can record you for free or teach you how to record yourself at home. So I went to his studio and then found out that he had a band as well, and he was gonna do a show, a local show, and he invited me over to that show. And then when I was there, like helping them with sound and cabling and all of that, the opener couldn't make it, so they wanted me to see if I could fill in and play at least Parallel Colors and another song that we were recording at the time. And it was very improvised, but I had the laptop with me and I could run some backing tracks. So I played those two tracks and it went well. People liked it. It was different because they were expecting a pop punk show, and they had the pop punk show, but at the beginning they had this weird thing that it's just strange for that audience, and they liked it. So after that, the people that were hosting the event, before that actually, the people that were hosting the event, they were asking to have me in. They needed a name, and I had Aurora Dream as a name for as a possible song title, not even like a project title, but it was all I had in my head at the time. So I just went with it, and then I don't know, a week went by, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna stick to this. I don't think I'll use it for a song title. It's it's fine. I'll just stick to it and never change it really. But that's just how it happened.
I like it, man. It's a cool name. And Aurora is actually my granddaughter's name. So,
Oh,
and it's also the name of Sleeping Beauty.
yeah.
So, yeah, yeah. I mean, they Sleeping Beauty Dream. It fits right in. So the album, it's a full length album, and Rubik's, and in the press release, it's got a picture of a Rubik's cube, which goes with the math prog. So, coming up with that, was that part of it? Like, okay, I'm doing math prog, Rubik's cube, or is it just that you like the Rubik's cube? I mean, how did you come up with Rubik's?
So it was a mix of many things. I would say that yeah, there's so much because the Rubik cube usually, well, all most traditional Rubik cubes have 9 little squares on each side,
Mm-hmm.
and the album has 9 tracks. So that's one thing. Um, I liked the fact that I chose one side of the cube where I'm showing you blue and red, and then the Aurora Dream logo on one side. And I liked the dual, like I guess the contrast between blue and red, because I don't know, red is usually seen as something bad or negative or hell or whatever. And I feel like when I started writing the album, it was a very shitty time with my life. Like a lot
Right.
of bad things happened, not just my dog passing, but many at the same time, which was very horrible for me. Like it took a while for me to like get over all those things. So it was like experiencing hell in a way. And then during the second half of the whole like writing process and putting all the album together, it was very like the complete opposite, just like heaven almost. So I liked that duality of the colors. And then there's the technical component, like you said, about math and writing something that is sort of technical, and that comes with knowing how to put together a Rubik cube. And in a way, it was challenging for me to also like find all these little like riff ideas on my computer and like trying to see how I can make them work and like put them together into actual songs. So it was like building a Rubik cube, and also like putting my life back together as like finding a new job, new friends, and new everything. So it was, yeah, there's a lot uh, that has to do with why I kind of went with that. I'm also very OCD. I'm a very OCD person, and I like almost obsessive to the point that I like having everything super organized and clean, and I love the cover being just very minimal, just like an infinite white room with the cube and then the little dots at the bottom. It's yeah, it's there's so many layers to it, but hopefully these ones are enough to like cover that question.
Well, trust me, dude. I know all about OCD. My wife is OCD, so yeah, it's
Yeah.
and it's not. I mean, I don't really look at it as like a disorder. I mean, like I've never been diagnosed with it, but there's certain things that I'm like, hey man, this has got to be this way. Organization is not bad. And I mean, dude, you again, just this album is your first one. And it's amazing, and I look forward to so much more from you. And I mean, honestly, do you ever feel like maybe you might put lyrics to it?
Um, yeah, there's that possibility. I like experimenting with many different. I like staying unpredictable for people, like always throwing something new at what I'm doing. So having some vocals over a song, that could be a good thing to do. Not necessarily my vocals, but maybe having someone
Right.
who sings well and it's maybe from another band, something that I also enjoy, and then seeing how that plays along. But that could be a great idea. I would try to maybe not be as technical to so I can leave some room for vocals to come in and not be as layered with guitars, but it's something that I thought about for sure.
You obviously have a very complex mind. I mean, because it's like I ask you the question, you're really thinking about like, well, yeah, I could do this, and not so much of my guitar, but some of the lyric. I mean, it's cool to watch you sit here and watch you think as I ask you these questions, because you're you're a very talented man, and I think that you have a great future, man. I mean, it's life is tough, and you went through a lot of toughness from what you're telling me, and you made it into a beautiful project. And again, if you really sit back and you listen to it, you can feel the different emotions from each song. I mean, and it's not any different than albums from 20 years ago, except for it's got your twist on it. That was their twist. This is your twist. But you could feel emotions from them. Again, the greats, Steve Vai, Joe Satriani. I mean, dude, that's some big names to be in there with.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you're doing it, man. I mean, and Aurora Dream is like on my playlist now. So you
Awesome.
definitely gained a fan. I mean, I done liked and subscribed to your channel, everything. Um, Daniel, I really do. I appreciate you taking the time to talk with me. I appreciate the time that you took to put into your music and the way that your music has touched me. Thank you very much for that. So, man, I mean, you're rather you get out there selling, sold out stadiums, or you're just playing some shows. You're doing it, man. That's what it's all about.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And I'm really happy that, you know, to have you here and for inviting me over. And this being my very first like video interview being released. It's cool to have people, yeah, hear my thoughts for the first time in my voice.
Well, and I'm glad that to be your first, man. I'm honored. And I really enjoyed seeing your face, hearing your thoughts, and hearing your voice, and your not just your voice itself, but your voice of your music. Now we can put a face and a voice to that phenomenal guitar playing.
Yeah. No,
So,
I likewise. It was really, really cool to have, to be a part of this.
hey, and brother, I'll tell you what, you got a great publicist with Shauna. I mean, she'll take you as far as you want to go. Amazing woman. I've been working with her for a couple years now, and yeah, she's most of my roster. As far as videos, she is a phenomenal publicist, and she really cares about her artists. And you
Yeah.
know, you struck gold with her.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but it shows that we have less than a minute before like the call
Yes,
expires, right? Okay,
yes.
just wanted to in case that it hangs up on an
No,
hour.
it's cool, man. But yeah, hey, thank you for being on, and you have a good evening, Daniel. And again, just keep doing you, brother. You're awesome.
Thanks a lot, man. Take
All
care.
right,
It was
you
nice
too.
to be here.
Thank you. Bye.